Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. It is Sunday, March 27th. Ian Cameron and Rinas Vitalins from Latvia, our weekend man, Vito, with us as well, ready to break down the Sunday NHL card. Before we do that, we'll talk a little about yesterday. It's a busy Sunday for me here as the San Antonio excursion continues and rolls along. Of course, I'm here till Thursday. Thursday's the day I return home. And again, thank you to Pub Sports Radio and letting me borrow the studio this week for the Ice Guys. It's a great bar here inside Southtown 101. It's been a great few days for sure. It was a good Saturday overall for me for the most part with the bets. I mean, Chicago-Vegas over for me in the afternoon, Vito. That didn't start out too well. And then the scoring just exploded in the third period. And that game sailed over the total with Vegas winning. Best bet cashes with New Jersey, Washington over. Couple of near misses, though. I mean, Ottawa, I was right. At least my line of thinking was correct, Vito. I thought Ottawa was going to be a very live underdog against Florida. They got the early lead 2-0. Couldn't hold it, though. Florida comes back and wins that game in a shootout. Also got to admit, Edmonton, just a dreadful defensive night. Took a shot with them against Calgary, and they give up a 9 spot to the Calgary Flames. It was a Wild West shootout, if you will, with the Flames and the Oilers. 14 goals combined in that game last night. Toronto, just when you think, hey, they got Giordano, they got Colin Blackwell, they got their defensive game back in order, everything's going to look good, and then they're not cruising, but they're playing a pretty good game overall against Montreal for a good part of that game. And then all of a sudden, the roof caves in the final few minutes, and they lose to Montreal. And another setback for the Leafs as they prepare for a big one tonight against Florida. Vito, you can talk about yesterday, and also looking ahead to today, Vito, we have 2 phenomenal hockey games on paper tonight. Colorado, Minnesota, Florida, and Toronto. Those are the 2 main event games, if you will, of this Sunday card. I'm looking forward to seeing both of them.
All right, yeah. Well, talking about yesterday's games a little bit, Leafs, dominated all over the Canadiens, but won a game by Jake Allen there. On amazing saves by him. And one more goalie made some amazing saves yesterday. Who Leafs play again? The Lightning. Nedeljkovic. Also some amazing saves from point when he was an empty netter. Nedeljkovic also.
He's been better lately. He's got his game back again. He's playing good.
Yeah. And if we talk later Dallas, Vancouver, Dallas just somehow blows that game. Florida, Ottawa. Yeah, Florida. Hard game for them because they needed to climb back in the game, So today they play Leafs, so that could be an interesting spot. Capitals find a way to beat Devils. Had their over. I took it over in that game live, actually, like over 6. So lucky or not lucky winner on that.
Yep.
Wild, against the Columbus. I actually end up playing puck line money line split there, and that was lucky because they tied in the very end. But Fleury played very great. He made some unbelievable saves there. Blues against the Canes. Well, the game maybe were a little bit closer than the score says, definitely, because it was like 2-4 when they started to pull the goalies. And the game was maybe a little bit more even than 2-7. And Flames Oilers. There was once again we saw what the Oilers goaltending is made of. Those
Swiss cheese. That's the Swiss cheese. Not very pretty.
Those shots, just a regular shot from Backlund in the top corner, Smith cannot catch it. His reaction is gone. He's too deep in net. He's gone. So, and the last 2 games, Kings win, Kraken, and Sharks in a tight battle wins Ducks 4-1. I predicted it's going to, Ducks are just done.
Yeah, that was pretty ugly for the Anaheim Ducks. Couldn't even score last night, barely, against that San Jose team. Not playing good hockey. You're right, the roof caving in. They did get one, actually, 4-1. Fell 1 goal short with the over in that game, over 5.5. Actually, over 6, it would have been a push, so I needed 2, but 1 more would have given me the push there. But nevertheless, we'll turn our attention, Vito, to Sunday. We've got 7 games. Get used to this. Sundays earlier in the season when the NFL season was going on, you were lucky to get 3 or 4 NHL games on a Sunday. Now you're getting 6, 7, 8 games every Sunday the rest of the season. So it's great to see it. And we'll start with Tampa Bay, the Lightning taking on the New York Islanders. We've got the Lightning minus 160 road favorites here in this game, 5.5 the total across the board. Of course, this is 2 p.m. Eastern, the first game of this Sunday card. when you look at it. Both teams played yesterday afternoon, the Lightning and the Islanders. Tampa Bay needing to work to get past Detroit yesterday, 2-1 in overtime, but they did find a way to get the win. It was a decent effort from them. I thought, goaltending was terrific. Everybody was concerned about Brian Elliott. We said this yesterday, Vito, talking about Brian Elliott like he's some chump, like he's some kind of horrible goalie. No, he's a very capable goalie. He's had actually a good run of play the last few starts he's been in net, and he was very solid again for Tampa Bay in the 2-1 win yesterday against Detroit. Islanders lose 6-3 to Boston. I think with this Islanders team, Vito, they're going to be capable of beating average teams. They're going to be capable of beating the weaker teams. I still have my concerns whether they can beat the really good teams. And we saw that yesterday. 6-3 loss to the Boston Bruins in that game. As far as the goaltending here, Vasilevsky, you'd expect him in today. He is confirmed, obviously, with Elliott getting the start yesterday against Detroit. Not a shock to see Vasilevsky in today. Ryan McDonough out on the blue line for Tampa Bay, so make sure you're aware of that. But they got some pretty decent depth back there. The Islanders expected to go with Ilya Sorokin here in this game today. And, the Islanders, I like the way their game's been trending lately, but you look at most of these wins still, Columbus, Winnipeg, Anaheim, they did get a good win against the Rangers, did get outshot a little bit in that game, but they did beat the Rangers, did beat Dallas. Dallas is up and down. We saw that last night. And then the last two wins were Ottawa and Detroit for this Islanders team. So, I don't really love the idea of trusting them here to beat Tampa Bay back-to-back for both teams. Tampa's obviously traveling in. I don't have anything on this game. It's one of the games today. It's a tough one. It's an early start. Totals-wise, I'd lean under because I think Tampa Bay is really trying to tighten it up now as we get closer to the playoffs. But no bet for me, not involved. What do you think, Vito? Tampa, New York?
Well, yeah, Tampa is not the sharpest team at the moment, definitely. Well, as one guy mentioned in the chat, they're kind of gliding on the ice. And I mean, all they need is just to make the playoffs, and then they will start to play because it doesn't look like they really care at the moment. Like, yeah, even yesterday against Detroit, I mean, Detroit had more shots than Tampa. And when the Detroit scored, then Tampa started to attack a little bit more and get that tying goal and wins like always.
Yeah, something's not right with them. You're right. They did just enough to get by yesterday. That wasn't a dominant, we're grabbing this game by the throat type of performance from Tampa Bay.
But I mean, we have seen it through all the year. I mean, they always go down, they just come back and win OT or somehow. So yeah, and it's hard to trust them. And now in this end of the season, obviously they're making the playoffs, and then they will start to play better. Here with Islanders, I remember the first meeting between these two teams because I remember my bet there. They scored early, both teams. It made 1-1, and then I went under 7 in this game. It was a great bet. It ended like 4-1. So this time, I kind of have a feeling it actually might go at having 5.5. I mean, I have a feeling this kind of go over because both of the teams having a fourth game this week, I think, and third game in 4 days, I think, also for the both teams. And yeah, even with Vasi hasn't been that sharp, guys. Also lately on the road, especially, he has been letting in like 3 goals, 4 on the road. So I think this actually could push over here today. Over 5.5. Hard to choose a side. I mean, Tampa minus 160. I think even maybe even like a little bit better price on that. But I think Islanders are also capable to bring like a close little bit game. But yeah, I think Tampa will end up winning this one. But I think 4-2 could be a score in this game. So 5.5 could be like a play over.
And the Islanders were going over for a period of time. And look at yesterday, 6-3 against Boston. Boston kind of lit them up a little bit defensively, and that's kind of what we just talked about with the Islanders. We can trust them to win games, play good defense against some of the weaker competition, but you put them up against Boston and even Tampa in their weakened form right now because they just really haven't played their best. Tampa Bay for a good solid couple of weeks now. They could still take care of business here against this Islanders team. So definitely interesting to see how this one plays out. Detroit and Pittsburgh. By the way, Tampa's going to have to give you a little better effort and just aggressiveness. Be ready to go from the opening puck drop. They got away with it against Detroit. They will need to be better in that regard here. All right, speaking of Detroit, they're playing Pittsburgh. We got the Penguins minus 330 home favorites here in this one. 6.5 the total in this game. As far as Pittsburgh goes, it's an interesting spot here when you look at the Pittsburgh Penguins. Obviously, we know this team has struggled the last couple games. They lost to Buffalo. They lost to the Rangers. back-to-back games. You'd expect them to come out full throttle. You'd think so in this spot here, coming off those 2 losses. The Buffalo loss, Vito, there's no shame. Buffalo is playing everybody tough right now. This is a Sabres team that you've got to put on your work boots and your hard hat and get ready to work for 60 minutes to beat the Buffalo Sabres right now. That's the way they're playing. They're not a pushover for any team at the moment. So losing that game, yeah, you don't want to lose to Buffalo, but Buffalo's playing good, better right now. And the Rangers lost. Look, the Rangers it was an avalanche, Vito, in the first 10 minutes of that game. The Rangers pretty much buried Pittsburgh in the very first few minutes of that hockey game, and they basically never recovered from that point. A 5-1 victory for the Rangers. You'd have to expect Pittsburgh going to be looking to play a lot better here this afternoon. Don't take this Detroit Red Wings team for granted. It is worth noting, by the way, Pittsburgh's success here. They've won 4 of the last 5 meetings. They've also won, I believe, 4 consecutive meetings in Pittsburgh against Detroit. It's really a case for me, Vito, of how do I want to bet it if I get involved with Pittsburgh. As far as goalies, we don't have confirmation yet. It should be Jari for Pittsburgh. Going to be interesting to see what Detroit ends up doing here on the back-to-back. Is it going to be Nedeljkovic again? I would think they might give him a shot to start again, even though it's a back-to-back. He's been playing better. I don't know if they want to give Calvin Picker to start. It would be him. He's the backup for Detroit right now because Thomas Greiss is out right now for the Red Wings. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this game. But I do think Pittsburgh's probably the way I would go. Maybe, if anything, here, first period puck line. It worked out well with Minnesota last night against Columbus. Those first period puck line bets are good ones. And I think you could look at this as a spot where, look, what did Pittsburgh in Friday night against the Rangers? What was their downfall? Oh, yeah, the start, which was brutal. It couldn't have been worse. So what's going to be the focus? What's going to be the emphasis for Mike Sullivan and the Penguins today? Yeah, a good start as opposed to a horrible one. So I think when you look at this game, the first period puck line, certainly something I'm going to be looking at when you look at this matchup. You can get, by the way, the first period puck line, Pittsburgh -0.5 plus 100, right around even money here for the Penguins in the first period. That's the bet I like. Keep it simple. I expect them to be ready, dialed in the first 20 minutes after these last 2 losses and the terrible start against the Rangers that sunk them early in that game. So I'm going to go Pittsburgh, first period puck line, -0.5 plus 100. Vito, what do you think? Detroit, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well, I agree with this bet. Even I have noticed that Pens are kind of slow starting team, but I think it all depends on situation, and definitely Pens are a capable team to also start the game great if they need, and they definitely after a loss like that in the last game, because Sullivan was very pissed. I mean, after 3-0, he took that timeout, and they couldn't really get back even in the game. So a terrible game by Pens there. So you have to expect a much better game from them. Another small thing, which is also very interesting for if you watch just the schedule here, guys. Just now they played the Rangers, and now they're gonna play Detroit at home, and the next game on the Tuesday is against the Rangers. So you will get a nice value there in Pittsburgh, I think. Well, better value than here against the Detroit, I mean. So that if they somehow struggle today even against Detroit, then that game against the Rangers, they will be totally sharp. That's for sure, even if that's a small revenge spot and everything. So, but yeah, talking about today, I was checking the puck line, haven't moved all day long. It has a little bit better price now than it was in the morning. So, yeah, I think Pittsburgh definitely should win this game against Detroit, But I cannot decide if I want to play them both nights today, like on the puck line, and then against the Rangers, or maybe just save and play against the Rangers and choose some more bets here today. But yeah, overall, guys, I think this is definitely a Pittsburgh spot here. They should beat this Red Wings team. But yeah, this is end of the year. We have seen some strange things happening. That's it.
Yeah, a Cheshire Cat in the chat. By the way, yeah, Malkin game time decision for Pittsburgh is the latest. Day to day. Nathan Beaulieu, by the way, they got him from the Jets, and they don't know when he's going to be able to play for them. He's still on the injured list as well. Nathan Beaulieu was actually a nice addition, but the problem with the guy is, and he can play. He's a nice defenseman. Problem is, though, his body parts right now are made of cotton candy and plastic. Right now he just can't stay on the ice, this poor guy. He's just constantly hurt. And, if he's healthy, he's a good defenseman. But right now he's still got that injury that he also had in Winnipeg. But, yeah, game time decision, Vito, for Evgeny Malkin today.
Yeah. First meeting, actually, also it was 29th January when Pittsburgh lost in overtime to the Red Wings at home. So that also is a little bit revenge here for them.
Yeah, that's a good point. They were totally fast asleep in that game. And look, this is the time of year, Vito, you're seeing it. Favorites are always going to go. They're going to have games where they take the night off. It's just going to happen at this time of year. You're going to see it across the board. You got to just you got to nail it with the timing. Pick the right time to maybe go against a favorite that's maybe a little disinterested, not invested as much in one particular hockey game.
Well, start of the season, it was all favorites winning. I think a lot of favorites were actually winning in the start of the season. And now, in the end of the season, yes, many underdogs are barking every day.
They are. They sure are. Yeah, you're seeing it. You're seeing it every day that there's usually at least one big dog each day coming through and getting the job done. Speaking of big dogs getting it done, could this big dog get it done in our next game? I think they might. Buffalo Sabres, New York Rangers. We've got the Rangers minus 260, 5.5 the total in this game. I'm telling you what, this Sabres team, at the very least, Vito, you know what you can do, because they have played 4 straight games that have gone to overtime or a shootout, Buffalo, going into this game. So that's why they've been right in every game. Beat Calgary, beat Vancouver, beat Pittsburgh, lost in a shootout to Washington on Friday night 4-3. They had a 3-2 lead, I believe, Buffalo, in that game as well. Yeah. So they have been just terrific. They've been competitive. Tage Thompson's on fire again. I hope nobody got off the Tage Thompson Express, because he continues to be absolutely phenomenal for the Buffalo Sabres. That whole line with Thompson, the guys, Thompson, Tuck, and the other one, Skinner, for the Buffalo Sabres. They have been absolutely magnificent. I like the way that they're playing down the stretch. They're playing, with pride. They're playing with passion. They want to finish the season the right way. There's no tanking going on with the Buffalo Sabres anymore. These are guys that are competitive. These are players that are looking for jobs, looking for contracts, moving forward with the Sabres, or at least, if not them, another team, and they're playing like it right now. And for the Rangers, this feels like one of those spots where they play down to somebody. We've seen that before. Look at New Jersey. They lost that game 7-4. They fell apart in the second period. They bounced back, beat Pittsburgh. They beat the Rangers. They beat Tampa. But they barely beat Anaheim, an overtime win in that game. To me, this is one of those spots where the Rangers sometimes can be vulnerable, because sometimes when they don't face one of those, I find the Rangers, Vito, are capable of elevating their game, beating a Tampa, beating a Carolina like they did, but they're also very capable of 7-4 losses to New Jersey, which we saw earlier this week. And they've dominated Buffalo, the Rangers. I will admit that. They've won 4 straight, 8-1. The last 9 head-to-head meetings between the Sabres and the Rangers. So it's been dominated by New York, but I'm taking a small flyer here with this Buffalo. It's just the way they're playing right now at plus 220. And you know what also I'm going to look toward is the draw double chance. It's like a soccer type of bet. You can take that with Buffalo. I think get a small plus price on that, or even money. Like, that means if the game goes to overtime or a shootout, the bet wins. And I think that is something I'm going to split it up. Half on just the money line, plus 220, half on that Buffalo draw double chance, so that if the Rangers win in overtime or a shootout, I still win that bet. That's the beauty of that Buffalo draw double chance, that if they could end up, the draw is certainly worth a look too. How can it not be? Rangers play a lot of close games for the most part. I could see this one being close. Like, look at the Anaheim game at home. That one went to overtime. This is kind of has that same feel to me. So I like the bunch of different things here. Buffalo plus 220, Buffalo draw double chance, and maybe just a sprinkle on the standalone draw as well, which you can get at a terrific price, well over plus 300 with the draw here in this Sabres Rangers game. I expect a competitive effort, though, from the Buffalo Sabres, just like they've been giving in every recent game. What do you think here, Vito? Sabres Rangers?
Yeah, I don't have much on this game, to be honest here. Rangers, after a big win against the Penguins, could it be a letdown spot? Yes, I think it could be, And as you said, they usually end up playing the same level as their opponent plays, So, but yeah, Rangers got these few new forwards, Copp and everything. So they've been kind of rolling. They are still excited to play, So I think they are hyped up pretty much for every single game now, a few of them. But yeah, overall, I don't think this price tag is what I want to touch with the Rangers. Even if for example, yeah, the money line is very disappointing and regulation is disappointing and does not only way how to look is here. I think from the Sabres side somehow, maybe some team total with Sabres even is possible. Yeah, why not? I mean, but yeah, as I said, don't have much on this game. I know that more information that the Sabres play Chicago tomorrow, so that's another thing. But yeah, overall, don't have much here, Ian. I think that's it.
That's all right. Nothing wrong with that. They have to put the lines out for every game. We don't have to bet every game. That's the beauty of doing what we get to do on a daily basis. But yeah, I think Buffalo's got a shot here. I really do. Shesterkin should be in net. He bounced back. That's the one thing about Shesterkin. Don't bet against him after a bad game and a bad loss. Like, he was obviously, the whole team stunk defensively against New Jersey. They were horrible in front of him, brutal in that game in front of Shesterkin. But at the same time, it wasn't one of Shesterkin's better games. A couple of those goals squeaked right through him. You don't usually see that. And boy, he bounced back against Pittsburgh. He played a lot better Friday night, as he usually does. He's usually very good off of a weaker performance, and he was again against Pittsburgh the other night. So I'm going to take a shot here. Buffalo plus 220, as well as the draw. This game could get over the total just because Buffalo's been scoring in bunches. I don't love betting Rangers overs because you know that they kind of tend to trend under, especially with Igor and net. But maybe it's not Igor today. Let's hold the phone on that because there's no goalie confirmed. It could be Georgiev. We'll have to wait and see on that. But I will add the over if it's Georgiev for sure. And I know he stood on his head against Carolina the last time we saw him last Sunday. 44 save shutout. It was unbelievable. It's like, is this Alexander Georgiev or Alexander Brodeur, Alexander Fuhrer, Alexander Dryden? Go down the list of every Hall of Fame goalie. That's what he played like, Georgiev, last Sunday against Carolina. But if he's in net today, I'll dare him to be good again. And I'm not sure I trust him to be good again for a second straight start. We'll see on that. All right, next up, we've got Colorado, Minnesota. Absolutely one of the big games of the day. We've got Colorado minus 135, road favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. Minnesota, not pretty, but they got the victory against Columbus last night in Marc-Andre Fleury's Minnesota Wild debut. Again, they had to work for it, but they got the job done, 3-2 in overtime. When you look at the head-to-head with these two teams, they played twice earlier this year, so this is the third meeting. Colorado 4-1. And then Colorado 4-3 in a shootout in Denver back in January. So Colorado's won the first two meetings, both in Colorado. Now they got to come to Minnesota, though, and the Wild looking to obviously get that first win of the year head-to-head against the Avalanche. Look, Avalanche, 5 of the last 6 they've won. The only loss was to Vancouver. They're playing good hockey. They're the typical Avalanche hockey right now. Pretty solid overall, both ends of the ice. It's looking like, by the way, Talbot has been confirmed for Minnesota in net for this game. Probably will be Darcy Kemper for Colorado. I've been impressed with Colorado because Landeskog's been out for several games, still without Girard and Byram on the blue line. Arturi Lehkonen has yet to suit up as well for the Avalanche, and they found ways to still win games, play good hockey. Minnesota, it is back-to-back for them. It's also third game in 4 days. It is a little bit of a rest advantage for Colorado. That does concern me a little bit going into this game. But when I look at this matchup, I look at the fact that these two teams, when they've met, and we've seen a lot of goals. And look, Colorado's not exactly played over hockey, for the most part, although they did against Philly the other night. I think you're going to see both of these teams want to show, what they can do. I mean, this is a spotlight game, Vito. This is Colorado, Minnesota. These are two teams that have dreams of making a run in the Stanley Cup playoffs, potentially a very deep run. And I think both teams bring that intensity and want to get things done here in this game. So I'm looking at this as a game that I'd go over 6.5. I'd lean Minnesota, quite honestly, at plus 115. I like that price. I know they want to beat Colorado badly, very much so, and they're capable of doing it. The only thing that's holding me back a little bit is the spot. It is a back-to-back for the Wild. It is third game in 4 days. Colorado is rested. I have not played since Friday night. So that is the one concern, but I still think there's value in this number with Minnesota. And Minnesota, to me, after getting Fleury and making those trades, Vito, at the deadline, I look at Minnesota as a bet-on team. I think they might go on a run. They've already showed signs of it. Are they ready to step up here tonight against Colorado? That's the question. I still lean Wild, plus 115, and I will definitely be on over 6.5 here in this game. Again, the over is cashed, I believe, when you look at series history, 5-1-1 to the over in the last 7 meetings between the Avalanche and Wild. Vito, it's one of the great matchups today on this Sunday card. What do you think, Colorado, Minnesota?
Yeah, well, it is back to back, right? But it's first of all home back to back. But if you look from the other side, they had a tough game yesterday. They were trying to get back in that game. It's an emotional win. It takes some power out of you to get to win like that. How they did yesterday. So how they're gonna perform today? That's hard for me to see because I don't think they're gonna outskate the Avalanche today. But I also don't think they're gonna make so much mistakes. It's a hard game for me. I was checking. I mean, obviously, well, for Avs also a fourth game this week. But yeah, they've been playing with 1 day rest all the time, so they perhaps have their legs will be going, and I think that the game actually could go over. I also don't have a strong opinion in this game. This is two great teams. Minnesota at home as an underdog and a nice plus price also is a great look. But if we just look from the Avalanche side, they're very great performers, and they know that Wild team is their division rival. So if Avs get up to a game, that's not bad, because Avs also when Avs play great, it's hard to beat Avs, So Talbot also for a while today. How he's gonna play, not sure. Well, he's been obviously a little bit better, and now with Fleury in the lineup, I think Talbot will step up. Because he's gonna don't want to give away his net easy. He's gonna fight for the net. I mean,
no doubt. And we saw that in his last start. Vito
exactly.
Talbot played very well. Yep.
Exactly. So yeah, taking all these angles. I mean, if you like Minnesota, I guess you should wait till the puck drop, because that's when you're gonna get the highest price. But from my side, I think I might end up playing this game live, and I think I want to get number like 5.5 or something if it's a slow start, and I think it gets to the 6 goals definitely.
Yep, definitely. And of course, Darcy Kemper, if he plays, he's facing one of his former teams, Minnesota Wild, way back in the day. Terry remembers Darcy Kemper and his Minnesota Wild days. I'm sure he does. There he is in the chat right now. So this is a great game. I'm looking forward to it. I like the over, lean Minnesota, but I do like Cale Makar props in this game. Cale Makar, 2 goals against Philly on Friday night. He has multi-point games, Cale Makar, in, I believe, 4 of the last 5 games. Or 3 of the last 4 games, he's had 2 points or more. So never mind just betting Makar to get a point. You know what I like to do in these situations? I'll go for the even bigger payout, the bigger plus price. I go over 1.5 points for Cale Makar. Look, he's factoring in and driving so much of the offense for the Avalanche. He always drives so much of the offense from the blue line. But right now in particular, he's scoring. He's finding the back of the net. Again, 2+ points, 3 of the last 4 games. Cale Makar's got it going on right now for the Avalanche. This guy is he's already one hell of a talent, and he's only going to keep on getting better. But yeah, definitely looking toward props on the great Cale Makar on defense here for the Avalanche in this game. All right, Philadelphia, Nashville. Nashville minus 280. I'm going to have to get some water soon. Oh, my goodness. Nashville minus 280. Home favorite, 6 the total in this game. This is interesting. Now, we know Philadelphia lost to Colorado on Friday night, 6-3 loss in that game. We'll see if they can bounce back here. It's not going to be easy. You know what's funny, Vito, is they've gone win-loss, 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 the Colorado Avalanche. Or Philly, I should say. Philly's gone win-loss, win-loss. Yeah, the last 6 games. But I think they're going to lose 2 in a row here. I don't think they're beating Nashville. Nashville off 2 straight bad games, stinkers, bad performances, horrible against LA, brutal against Vegas as well. 6-1 losses in both of those games. I would think definitely they're going to want to bounce back strong here. I don't mind that it's the end of it's coming back home after a road trip. That's not always a great thing necessarily for a team, but I'm going to look past that here. It was only a 3-game trip, Anaheim, LA, Vegas. They shouldn't be worn down by too much travel. It was a shorter trip. They've had a couple of days since that last game against Vegas to, get back to Nashville, get, reacclimated, get comfortable again with the time zone change and all that. I think they come out here with a big game. And by the way, they lost to Philadelphia in what was Claude Giroux's final game with the Philadelphia Flyers, his 1,000th career game. I remember because I took Philly that night. I said it was a great spot, home underdog. Brett McLean, who did a great job on the Ice Guys that day, our special guest, he used Philly as his best bet that day against Nashville in what was Claude Giroux's final game as a Flyer. So revenge here for Nashville as well when you think about it. So Nashville for me, I'm actually going to go with a rare puck line here. Nashville puck line -1.5. Nashville first period puck line and team total for Nashville as well, over 3.5, -140. All right, what do you think here, Vito? Philly, Nashville.
Well, yeah, this is one of the games which I actually like today, and which I actually have placed my bet. And Nashville has lost two games in a row, which with high scores, I mean. And now this national team is at home. They have rested 2 days, so you can expect rested national team here with great mentality and Saros in the net. Just looking from Philadelphia side, they're fourth game this week and the third in 4 days, and they play Blues and Avalanche, which are hard teams to play, and both of them back to back. And now they continue their road trip, and now they're going here to Nashville. So I think it's a horrible spot here for Philly. They got one more game on the road on Tuesday against Wild, but these two is going to be hard games for Philly. They might actually lose both of them. It's easy possible here. So here I will, in this game I will go with. I went with this money line puck line split actually yesterday in Vegas game and in Wild game. So both puck lines I didn't hit, but I got a little bit back because they won in overtime and I had that money line bet. So not completely a big lose there, but still obviously a loss because there's little value, much less value. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do the same here. I will gonna go with the Predators money line and puck line split bet here. Yeah.
All right. It's going to be interesting because lately Philadelphia, they've gone back and forth, with their goaltending a lot more. They've gone back and forth, Hart and Jones back and forth between Carter Hart and Martin Jones lately. Jones got the win against St. Louis. He actually played well. I can't believe I'm saying this, Vito. Martin Jones played well that night against St. Louis. And Carter Hart played against Colorado, and it could have been a lot worse if not for Carter Hart. 50-plus shots that he faced in that game. So even though he gave up, there's 6 goals given up, I mean, Carter Hart, it could have been worse if not for him. So if they put Hart in, they got a guy that faced 50 shots Friday night. He could be worn down a little bit, ripe for the picking. If they put Martin Jones in, it's Martin Jones. He's always ripe for the picking. So either way, you would think Nashville's got a good chance here to find the back of the net in this game. So I like them. I'm on them 3 different ways here. First period puck line, full game puck line, and team total over 3.5 here for Nashville. I don't like that Tanner Jeannot may not play, though. Tanner Jeannot has been a very, very good forward for the Predators this year. He's day-to-day right now with an injury. Borowiecki, blue liners out as well. Fabro and Benning on the defense as well. Although there's injuries for the Flyers like crazy. Like Lawton's been out for a while. Couturier's still out. And, of course, Travis Konechny as well. Added to the injury report day-to-day right now for the Flyers. So especially down the middle, center ice, multiple injuries here for the Flyers that they have to deal with right now. All right, next up, we've got Montreal and New Jersey on this Sunday slate. New Jersey, -170. Home favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. Montreal, let's give them credit. They found a way against Toronto. It wasn't pretty last night in that game, but they found a way to win. It's all that matters. They got the 2 points. Canadiens get it done with that 4-2 victory. They got heavily outshot. I mean, Toronto completely, dominated that hockey game. But all that matters at the end of the day was that 4 goals for Montreal, 2 goals for Toronto. That's all that mattered. Jake Allen was heroic, was absolutely unbelievable. And he's capable of a game like that. Jake Allen's a solid goalie. He absolutely is. And obviously we saw that from him last night against the Leafs. A terrific performance from him in between the pipes. 49 saves on 51 shots. Just absolutely, utterly spectacular for the Habs last night. Now, obviously, with this being a back-to-back on the road in New Jersey, you'd think they got to give him a rest. I mean, he faced a shit ton of shots last night. How do you put Jake Allen back in there? It's probably going to be Sam Montembeault, I would think, is going to be the goalie here tonight for the Montreal Canadiens. And yeah, it's already been confirmed, Montembeault in net for the Canadiens. Probably John Gillies, I would think, for the New Jersey Devils. I know Nico Dawes has had the majority of starts lately for this New Jersey team, but with them on the back-to-back as well, losing 4-3 to Washington last night, I think there's probably a good chance we're going to see John Gillies in net tonight. And I think he's a little bit worse than Dawes, in my opinion. So I think when you look at it here, the table is set for goals early and often, I think, in this game. New Jersey's always a team I'm looking to bet overs with. They have cashed over bets in 5 of the last 6, 5-1 to the over in their last 6 games. I think that continues here. By the way, you talk about over series history, Vito. Last 4 meetings, Montreal, New Jersey, 4-3, 6-4, 5-4, 7-1. All of them flying over the total. I expect more of the same here. I would look over this total, 6.5 with Montreal, New Jersey. You could even go both teams to score first period. I like that bet in this game too. I think a 1-1, 2-1 score after the first period of this game would not shock me in the least. So definitely a game I think we can look at for goals early and often. Vito, what do you think? Montreal, New Jersey.
Yeah, this is one of the games which actually, I don't know how it looked on your books. I got it at 6 here today earlier, over 6. So that's my bet. And yeah, obviously any game can go under as well, but here I just think, Canadians somehow, after stealing that game yesterday, 50 shots. I mean, is that a great defense? I don't know, 50 shots, and then it doesn't tell a great defense, even if those shots come from corners or whatever. But we know that Leafs team doesn't shoot much from corners. They have a great scoring chances. So can they go lucky 2 games in a row? I don't think so. Also, the mentality for this game, I don't think Montreal will come out here. Devils have very great offense, but overall they're not as good as Leafs. And how I think about this game, if Montreal had their mindset strong yesterday, because they know it was Leafs and they know they're gonna get pushed, and they knew that they will need to protect their net, to win this game. That's show 50 shots, and they protected it somehow well.
3.78, Vito. 3.78 goals expected for the Leafs last night. 3.78 to 1.2. That tells you the way that game should have played out.
Just looking from that mentality from Canadiens, I think Devils, they don't expect that strong team like Leafs, so they might a little bit play, let their minds go, not be so focused. And I think that will bring us goals here, because if they will not be focused, Devils is the team which can score. And Canadians can score now as well. I mean, that line, Caulfield, Anderson, who we have Suzuki there, that line is good. And, they can score, I mean. So I think they find the back of the net here today. It pushes over here, I think, yeah. That's my bet.
All right, liking the over here. I'm a little bit concerned about Montreal scoring because there are some injuries. Gallagher out, Petrie out. Michael Pezzetta has actually been a force for them. He's physical. He's actually gotten on the score sheet a little bit. They're all out. Pitlick, Cale Clegg, Ryan Poehling, all out right now for the Montreal Canadiens. So, there are some injuries that are a little bit concerning right now for them, but definitely, I would expect still enough contribution offensively from both teams to send this game over the total. All right, next up, we got Florida and Toronto. Toronto minus 120, home favorites, 7 the total. I'm actually very, very much tempted to take Toronto here. I actually like them a little bit in this spot. Florida squeaked past Ottawa. Toronto knows they played a game more than good enough to beat Montreal. I mean, what can you say? I just gave you the numbers, expected goals in that Leafs-Canadiens game last night. Toronto 3.78, Montreal 1.2. I mean, and they lose 4-2 Toronto. So just an absolutely horrible loss, in that they deserved the win, obviously. They played a game that merited a victory for the Leafs, and they didn't get one last night. And I'll say this about Toronto. The one thing they have done is they've raised their game against good teams lately. They really have. I give them credit for that. A couple of their recent wins looking for Toronto. They beat Carolina in one of their recent victories, played pretty well in that game. They've had success against Tampa earlier this year as well. And you're going to get Toronto pretty angry because they felt, hey, we were the better hockey team last night. We should have won. And it's true. They should have won that game. No question about that. But, they've kind of raised their game, especially at home. They beat Carolina. They've had some good games against better competition at home. It's been a while since these teams have played. These are divisional, teams here, and they have, believe it or not played yet this season. The Panthers and the Leafs. This is gonna be their first meet. How does that happen? How does that happen when you're divisional foes and you're just playing each other now for the first time this season head to head, and it's March 27th? How does that happen? Talk about unbalanced schedule? Clearly, because obviously we're going to see a shit ton of Florida-Toronto games down the stretch here in the final month. So get used to it. It's going to be like a mini playoff series down the stretch in the regular season. These teams are going to play each other a lot right now for these two teams. They're going to see each other a lot. Look, these two teams, it's been over-palooza, all right? I'm at Pubapalooza here in San Antonio. This is over-palooza with Florida versus Toronto. The last 8 meetings, we have seen 7-1 to the over, and the scores of 4-3, 4-3, 6-1, 7-5, 8-4, 5-3, 5-3. Problem is the total's 7, and some of those games did land on 7 that went over the total. So you're not getting a bargain. This is the Alex special. I do like the over here, but my gosh, wait until 5 minutes into the game. See if you can get a 6.5. See if you can get a better number in the live betting market rather than bet this thing pregame. But lean over. I'm going to look for a better number during the game, and I like Toronto a little bit. Both teams on a back-to-back, so neither team's got a significant advantage that way. Both up and down on a back-to-back. Toronto 4-5, Florida 5-4 on the second of back-to-back games. But I just think Toronto and Florida's been vulnerable. Florida's not that unbeatable team right now. It's probably going to be Spencer Knight because I think they went with Bobrovsky last night. So it's going to be Spencer. It could be Spencer Knight tonight. We'll wait and see on that. Peter Mrazek in net for Toronto. Mrazek's coming off one of his best games as a Leaf. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The way he played earlier this week in that game against New Jersey, he was outstanding. He really was. He made a couple of big saves. That was a close game. New Jersey put up a great effort against Toronto, and Mrazek had to be great in that game, and he was. He was very good. Now, is that a sign he's getting his game back? I don't know, but it was a great first step. We'll see if he can play well and be steady, be solid in the net for the Leafs tonight against obviously a very high-powered and potent offense that the Florida Panthers can bring. As far as props go, it's a good prop game. Matthews certainly worth a look for Toronto in this one. From Florida's standpoint, Marchment is always someone to consider. He continues to deliver and produce. And you see what he's been doing. Actually, Huberdeau has been heating up lately for the Florida Panthers as well. The two Sams, Sam and Sam, Bennett and Reinhart, they've actually chipped in. Verhaeghe's been excellent lately. So you could go in a bunch of different directions here with props for Florida. But I'm going to look to bet the over live during the game. And I'm going to end up probably looking to Toronto here, minus 120 in this one. What do you think, Vito? Panthers, Leafs?
Well, yeah, the same. I mean, for this game, for definitely looking to play only live and not like even 6.5. Maybe they try to protect their net like it should be in hockey. Don't want to allow nobody wants to allow the first goal. So let's hope they do that at least for like 8 to 10 minutes, maybe 12, and then you can actually definitely find like even 5.5 maybe or 6. So that's a great look here. From the side perspective, I also think Leafs here because of Panthers. They had to climb back yesterday in the game against that Ottawa, so that's emotional game. So they did it took a lot of stamina from them out, to go to shootout and everything. And now today they have to play the Leafs. So from the spot, I think Leafs. Only concern is definitely Mrazek and goaltending, which has been horrendous bad. I mean, bad just for the Leafs. This Mrazek, he got to waivers. Now he's back. I heard Sheldon Keefe said that he looks kind of ready and better.
Yes.
So, but How can you tell that from practices? I mean, game is totally different thing. I can
Well,
tell
he
you.
said that before the New Jersey game about his practice. His practice was great, and he said that before the New Jersey game. He went to the New Jersey game, he started that game, and he was great. So he actually has had that one game since he said that, the
Yeah,
coach, that he's played great. But now you got to do it against Florida, a very, very explosive team. Let's see how he does.
yeah. Well, with the interesting one thing with hockey, actually, guys, if you see, when I used to play, I mean, we had always one guy in team which we call practice guy because he always skates good, he shoots good, but when it comes to the games, he cannot put the puck in the net. It's just like a sickness, or whatever, So there is these practice guys. Cannot now really name anyone from NHL at the moment, but definitely, yeah. And from practice, it's hard to tell what's gonna happen always in the game. So, but yeah, I already told. Yeah, I'm gonna look to play this over. I think this goes over, but I want to play it only live. That's my take here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's tough. I mean, let's hopefully these two teams can, not shoot their load in the first 5 minutes here. Hang in there. Let's get maybe a little tight, conservative start so that we, please Florida, please Toronto, hold the fort here for 5-6 minutes at the beginning of the game so we can get a better number on the live total. We appreciate that. We'd appreciate that very much. So that's definitely what we're going to be looking to do here in this one. What's funny too is what I might do too is I could do both teams to score first period because that's like insurance. I can bet that pregame so that what if there's an early goal and I don't get that 6.5? What if there's a goal in the first 2 minutes? And I don't want to be in that position where there's a goal in the first 2 minutes and I didn't get in on something in the first period for offense. And I obviously wouldn't get a 6.5 with the live total if there's a goal in the first couple minutes. So that way, if I take first period, both teams to score, it's kind of a way to in case the floodgates open quickly in this game, I'm covered. And then if obviously it starts slow and we got, 5 minutes at least without a goal to begin the game, then I'll get my opportunity to jump on a live over at a better number, 6.5 at the very least.
Yeah. Well, I think Chris Otto is very good with these ones. I sometimes watch him on Twitter. He can sometimes can find a very great value with first period both teams to score like a plus 100, plus 150, and then you can take even the other team to just on the money line as like plus 100, and then only one way you can lose that, and that's something. If you study these hockey periods and everything and overs, you can find some great values and avoid some and find some great spots. Really, yeah.
Yep, no doubt. And that's what we show on the BetCast. Now, I believe we're going to have a live BetCast on Tuesday, but I will not be on it because I'm still in San Antonio Tuesday. But we will have a live BetCast and see if we can get Alex, Andrew, and company to be part of that. Terry Edelman, too, is always on the BetCast. If Alex or Andrew, for whatever reason, they are busy or they've got some conflicts or can't be on the BetCast or whatever the case, Terry Edelman's next in line maybe to host one of these things. So, we'll see. But anyway, there will be one, even though I won't be on it, the Tuesday BetCast. And again, I'll be on the Ice Guys show tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I'll be on all three shows. Thursday, I won't be because that's my travel back home day. So I won't be on Thursday's show, but I'll be back on Friday. And then I'm good. I'll be back home after that, and I'll be on every show. Just back to normal, essentially. All right. Next up, final game of this Sunday card, Arizona Coyotes, Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg minus 260, home favorites, 6 the total in this game. Wow, what a crazy ending for Winnipeg's last game against the Columbus Blue Jackets. They look like they're going to win the game by 2, empty net goal, gets called back, and then Columbus ties the game with like 15 seconds left, 3-3. The game goes to overtime, where Winnipeg wins the game anyway by a score of 4-3 in OT. When you look at this Jets team, Vito, they're starting to trend over the total again, and it's not surprising. They've gone over the total at 6-1-1 to the over in their last 8 games going into this matchup. Arizona, on the other hand, well, they had a nice little run, right? I was cashing some big underdog tickets, Vito, with Arizona for a little bit, but not anymore. They're starting to slide again. They lose to Pittsburgh 4-1. They lose to San Jose 4-2. They lose to Seattle 4-2. They lose to Calgary 4-2. And the theme remains the same, Vito. They're giving up a shit ton of shots. They're getting outplayed, outchanced every single game. The goalies are facing a shit ton of rubber, tons of chances, tons of shots. More of the same again against Calgary in their last game. So, Karel Vejmelka, He's definitely faced a lot of rubber in recent games, and it's not going to get any easier here. He's going to start the front end of this back-to-back here for the Coyotes. They play again actually tomorrow in Edmonton. They're going to give Vejmelka the start here in this game against Winnipeg tonight. And obviously tomorrow they play the Oilers. Andre Tourigny, the head coach, said he's probably going to end up giving Hari Sateri maybe his first start with the Coyotes. Remember, Hari Sateri picked up Toronto signed him, had to put him on waivers because of their cap situation and roster situation, and didn't clear waivers because Arizona picked him up off of waivers. So I think that's kind of where he's leaning right now, that we might see Hari Sateri in net for Coyotes tomorrow night. If not him, it would be Josef Kozhinash. Kozhinash would be the goalie for the Arizona Coyotes tomorrow night, possibly as well. But we'll worry about that tomorrow night. What we know is it's Vejmelka tonight. And look, Vejmelka's just faced a ton of rubber, ton of shots, 33, 39. You look at the saves he's got to make. He's given up 3+ goals, Vito, in 5 straight starts. 5 straight starts of allowing a minimum of 3 goals in net for the Coyotes, Vejmelka. I like his over saves prop tonight as well because, look, I mean, these over saves prop, I bet him a few times. I should be betting them every game when Arizona's playing because they're just giving up a shit ton of shots every single game. And I think you're going to end up seeing that a lot here once again tonight. A Winnipeg team that desperately needs points right now. And I expect them to find the back of the net. I expect Arizona could chip in, though, some offense. Why? Because Connor Hellebuck's in net, and he is still not playing at a great level, in my opinion. Not at all. For the Winnipeg Jets. He's fighting the puck. His confidence isn't right where it needs to be right now. His numbers have been, declining steadily in recent starts. He's allowed at least 3 goals, Vito, 12 of his last 13 starts in between the pipes. Connor Hellebuck for the Winnipeg Jets. That's, again, 12 of the last 13 starts. He's allowed a minimum of 3 goals. I expect Arizona could have a chance to get to 3. I certainly think Winnipeg's getting at least 3. They're probably going to get 4 or 5. I like over the total here. I thought it was a very straightforward bet for me in this game. I don't trust either defense. Vejmelka's faced a ton of shots. He's struggled lately. He's given up 3+ in 5 straight starts. I just gave you the numbers on Hellebuck, 3+ allowed in 12 of his last 13 starts. Both teams get 3 goals here, which to me is a very real possibility. The game goes over the total. So that's what I like here. Arizona, Winnipeg, over 6, -120. Vito, Coyotes, Jets.
Yeah, well, I think about Hellebuck. He had one great game against Vegas at home when they won 4-0.
Yep.
He had
that
one
was
great
one game. That was the one game in the 13 where he gave up less than 3. Yep.
Exactly. The rest of the games he's been struggling, and actually I like Comrie even better, Comrie's been playing well. He's not bad at all. I mean, he's great backup, and I think he's making his name for next year, maybe some. And adding about Sateri. I know Sateri very well because he came from this KHL here league, and he's Finnish goalies. I mean, and Finnish goalies are always been great. Finland produces great goalies, and Finnish goalies can surprise us. So he played very well back here. He always keeps the game low scoring. I mean, and I'm very excited how he's going to do here for Coyotes tomorrow, if he's going to be in the net tomorrow. But talking about today, actually, last time these two played, I had my bet on Jets regulation, and they were trailing in the third period, 1 goal to Coyotes, I think 3-2. They end up somehow winning 5-3 in the end, which I consider a lucky bet because they were not out. But actually, they were outplaying Yotes in the first period, I remember. But then Yotes somehow found those goals. So Winnipeg somehow loses to these low-tier teams. They cannot be trusted at this -260 price. So for me, I haven't made my decision yet about this game. Obviously, Jets is the better team now, but I mean, I understand why Jets is not in the playoff zone because from all the years I've been watching hockey, I kind of always pay attention as well to the defense. And right now, I couldn't find like top last names there. Morrissey and like Pionk and those guys, but those are not elite guys. Like I want to see Lindstrom in the back, like somehow a big D, at least one, like which can actually play good. So Jets don't have that D man. I mean, Morrissey, he took 3 penalties last game. and that's why they couldn't win in reg. So he's I think one of the top guys from them, or more or less. So yeah, defense is what lets Jets down, and if Hellebuck is not playing well, they can easily lose any given night. So yeah, I haven't placed any wager here yet. I think I could agree with Ian. Over is the look here.
All right, like in the over. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, if I was forced to take either side, I'd take Arizona. I'd take a shot at the plus 220 that they could maybe pull an upset. Or you could do, because Winnipeg did beat Columbus the other night in overtime. They did get the victory in overtime. That could happen here. You could do the Arizona draw double chance that I'm going to be doing with Buffalo against the Rangers, where if Arizona loses in overtime or a shootout, you still win that bet if you take Arizona draw double chance. So that is definitely something you can consider. But definitely my actual official bet, and the bet I liked in this game most is definitely the over, though. I think it'll get up and over the total of 6 here, Coyotes and Jets. All right, great stuff with Vito. Great job again, as always, Vito, on the weekend shows here on the Ice Guys. Before we wrap it up with best bets, a reminder, DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NHL. Great partners here with the Hockey Podcast Network, as well as the Ice Guys. A great sports book as well to be betting NHL hockey. And definitely they're, again, one of the official sports betting partners of the NHL. So take advantage. And if you're a new customer, you can do that. You just bet $1 on any NHL team to win, and you'll get $150 in free bets. It's a great offer to take advantage of. So make sure you do that. If DraftKings isn't available in your state, reminder, you can still play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings daily fantasy hockey contests. You can still get involved with those. DraftKings giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN. Bet just $1 on any NHL team. Get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Must be 21 years of age or older. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Download the DraftKings app. Sign up for an account. Use the promo code THPN. All right, best bets to wrap it up here for a Sunday edition of the Ice Guys. Vito, things have been good with you on the weekends. You've been good with these plays as well lately. What do you like for us here on Sunday with your best bet?
Yeah, well, I have decided on one thing. I actually looking, and I think I'm gonna go give me Pittsburgh Penguins here on the puck line. Well, I'm gonna take money line and puck line bet here, guys. So that's my play.
There you go. Pittsburgh Penguins money line puck line split for Vito here. That's the -1, by the way, as well. You could bet that -1, which means that if they win by a goal, it's a push, and obviously if they win by 2, you get the money. You get the full win. I guess you will. But definitely keep that in mind. You can do like that. A lot of bettors, what they'll do with a money line puck line split, they'll take the -1 if their book offers it. Yeah.
I think you just really should shop around for this, because you will find you can actually find a bigger value than the one book will offer -1. You should shop around for this always.
Always, yeah, and that's always line shopping is important. Have multiple books. Make sure you have multiple accounts. Very important for sure. All right, my best bet for this Sunday card. Let's see. It's a tough decision. I'm going in a bunch of different directions. I'm going to go with Nashville here. Team total over 3.5 -140. I like the puck line too, but I just like I'm just going to trust them to score 4 goals. It is a bounce back spot. 2 bad losses. You lost to the Flyers on Claude Giroux's final game with the Flyers just a week or 2 ago. That was right before the trade deadline. And Nashville coming off 2 rotten games against Los Angeles and Vegas to end that road trip. Now they're back home playing with revenge against this Flyers team that I simply don't trust in this spot. It's just a really, really good bounce back, strong, kick someone's ass type of spot. Kind of feels that way for Nashville. So let's go Nashville Predators. Team total over 3.5 -140. That's going to be my best bet here for this Sunday NHL card. All right, great stuff. Thanks again to Vito for joining me all weekend long here on the Ice Guys. We appreciate it very much. Yeah, Roman Josi over 1.5 points. Don't jump off that train. Okay, I know the last couple games you only got a point, but now this is a Philly team at home that is going to give up shots, chances, ultimately goals. This is the chance to buy low now, jump back into the pool, if you will, on Roman Josi over 1.5 points. I think he will get 2 or more points for the Predators in this game today. I do agree with that for sure. All right, there you go. There we go. That's the Sunday NHL card here on the Ice Guys show. Thanks to everyone for joining us live on YouTube. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Vito, this is Ian Cameron. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy the games and good luck, and we will talk to you again tomorrow on Monday. And I'll be here again from the beautiful, palatial Pub Sports Radio studios inside Southtown 101. I'll be back with you tomorrow on Monday hosting another edition of the Ice Guys presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.